Good morning and welcome to In the News with myself, Savvy Sapphire. It's the 28th, end of the month of February today. Welcome to In the News. It's been a delightful month in the sense of so many things have happened this month. As we know, there's the weather, there's the different things happening with COVID still, and there's the war, you might as well say, in Ukraine and Russia. Sad news there. But we would like to keep our news light and bright and keep it in the property arena where we know what we're talking about. Any other news brought to you, we wouldn't know what we're talking about. But today we're going to be really sharing some news with you in reference to different types of property industry news. We bring you this each week, every Monday at 8 a.m. So if you've never joined us before, and you are joining us today, welcome. And if you are on the replay, don't forget to type hashtag replay. If you want to jump in and say good morning to me, I'd love to say good morning back to you. Please don't forget to leave your name because StreamYard needs your name so I can see it, so I can say a direct morning to you. So what do we have in the news today? A lot of people always say, if I was to go for investment, what do I need to be investment ready? And I'm going to go through that in the news today. So first item on the news. So with such a high percentage of investments offers falling through to raise finance, what do you actually need to be investment ready and well prepared for raising finance? For your property. So when we're looking at raising finance, we're talking about raising finance as an investor and to close the deal that you know that you're investment ready for. The company that we're talking about is Investors. They've helped over 200 companies raise capital so that they know what is required. Start by reviewing the points below, which I'm going to read to you now, and it would improve how you look at and gaining that investment, the opportunity that is out there for you. Number one is to have a clear, good morning, Maureen. Wonderful to have you here. Number one is to have a clear investment offer. Have your clear statement of offer investment in terms of the share price. So that's the pre-money valuation, the fundraising spread, the minimum and maximum investment sought in this current round at the current share price, and the eligibility of the tax relief. Two, investment legals. A limited company, you would need to have articles, but you need to ensure that you are have adequate provision for pre-exemption rights and tag along and drag along rights. Now, these are all complicated legal terms, so I'm just giving you the overview this morning. But if you ever wanted to get investment money, these I can explain to you in our on our site, the Savvy Women. You could just book an appointment, and I can get to explaining all these terms for you, so it becomes less confusing. You also need a lawyer to prepare a subscription agreement outlining the terms in which the investment is made, i.e., share price. You may also need shareholders' agreements. Along with this, isn't necessarily required. Number three, you need a key agreements. You have this made available, key agreements such as a lease agreement, key supplier, and customer contracts, insurance contracts of employment, etc. Disclosure of legal proceedings have to be confirmed, and there are no disputes with suppliers, customers, employees. I'm just going to read what you need, and if you want to get the full details of this, you need a corporate of governance, intellectual property, i.e. ownership, insurance, solvency, director's loan, tax confirmation, capital table, recent financial statements, full disclosure, director's salary terms, shareholders protection, and further funds round if needed. So, you know, people you've seen on Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, and you see these people going for money for investors. These are the things that they need to put together. Every time that you hear somebody saying, you know, we're rejecting it because you don't even know your financials, and if you don't know your financials, how do you expect us to understand your financials? This is exactly what I'm sharing with you today: how to raise capital for your property investment business, but understanding what the person that wants to give you the money, what they actually want and require from you. So if you want a copy of this, again, as I said, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share what we have here. Right, in avenues, staycations here to stay. Holiday owners set for another record-breaking year. Following last year's record-breaking year of staycations 2020 and 2021, with people urged to stay locally as a result of this pandemic that we've gone through, or prevented from going abroad because of travel restrictions. I'm sure many of you have been having travel restrictions, trying to get abroad, and can't for various reasons. Either the country won't allow you in, or you need injections, or you know, it just simply is just more confusing and more harder to get into these countries. So what's happening now? People are staying at home, starting to see the country that they're living in and the beauty that they're living in. Good morning, Carol. Lovely to have you here. You know, so they're no longer going abroad. They're saying, you know what, we're gonna stay at home, and look in the UK or wherever, go to Ireland, wherever they can travel to freely. That's where they're going to. So, despite restrictions, travel restrictions across the globe, UK holiday lets owners are preparing for another busy year. Bookings and staycations continue to surpass the pre-pandemic levels. According to the holiday rental skies cottages, they revealed that 22% versus the same point in 2020. So there's a rise there. Once more, it has been a 158% rise in bookings compared to the same last year period. In a similar vein, bookings for up and coming February half term taking place, that would have been this month, are up by 27% for outside of 2020, February 2020. So what is this really telling you? If you're getting into the property space or already in the property space, have you anyone looked at getting us doing a service accommodation, buying a small cottage and renting it out, you know, as a small little holiday let? Um, you've got to start thinking outside the box. Where is your business going? What do you want to do for yourself? You know, are you looking at service accommodation? And if you are, where are you looking? Are you looking to rent it out short term to people flying in, or people that are already in the UK that need somewhere else to go? Always consider the different options that you have when it comes to doing a staycation, because it's a brilliant venture to get into and it's financially rewarding as well. So, what does the future for staycations look like? Elsewhere in the survey, 1,000 UK holiday goers, Sky discovered that well over half of Brits, 55%, say they will still opt for UK staycations, even when all international travel restrictions have been lifted. In fact, Brits are on average planning to take 2 staycations in the next 12 months. Nearly half, 46%, say they are limiting the environmental impact is a key consideration when choosing a UK break. What do you think? Do you think doing a staycation is where you want to go, or do you still love traveling abroad? What do you compare it against? Staying at home or going abroad? Now, there's an argument to be had. If the UK holidays were slightly cheaper, because it's very expensive to do a staycation. Have you noticed that? But going abroad it does work out cheaper to actually fly out the country than it is to stay in your own country. But because of all the restrictions that are out there, people are just opting, I need a break, so they're going away just to get the break. Because obviously, if you're still working from home, you're stuck in home, so and you just feel like you're not going anywhere. So people are opting to go other places. Please share your opinion. I'd love to hear, you know, staycations versus still traveling abroad. I mean, there is still places that you can travel abroad, and it's for you to do your research and to make sure that you can actually travel before leaving home. The last thing you want to do is travel, say that you're traveling abroad and you get to your destination and they reject you and turn you back, like we have seen in recent news with professional tennis players. I say no more. In avenues, the property investment, your 12-step 2022 property investment plan. So what do you think is the plan that we should be doing this year? Has everyone made a plan for this year? I'd love to hear in your comments whether you've made a property. Don't forget, this is in the news about property and business. But I just want to know, if you're looking to invest in property, have you made your 12-month plan yet? So we've gone past January and we're literally on the doorstep of the end of February. And so when we walk into March, what are your plans? So in March, this is what you should be looking to do. It's always good to do your homework. I always say that to my clients. It's always good to do your homework. The right information will set you on a pathway to success, but the wrong information can ruin you. This is because poorly informed investors make poor decisions. Would you agree with that? You must find trustworthy sources of information instead of blindly following the salesperson tell you the latest. Most have developed. Make sure you pick investment partners with strict due diligence process. Now, it's not me that has written this. This is a news report taken from a news article, and I'm forever singing this to my clients. Do your due diligence. It's a nickname for me as well through them. If they say anything, that and junk and spam, three words that I kind of always regularly use to them. So they're really sort of on my, they know this is what I would say as well. It's always about doing your due diligence. It's always about doing your research. And this is really serious because I don't like people to suffer and lose money or spend unnecessary money that they don't have to. So by doing your research, and if you don't understand how to do that, get a professional that does. We do it all the time. So, we're coaches and I have a training program. I have an academy. So come along and find out what we're about so you get the right help and to do the right investments without losing money. Yes, Carol, well done to you making a quarterly plan. That is excellent. And you don't have to make big long year plans like we do. You can do monthly, quarterly, you can do plans to suit you, how you can deal with it. So well done to you, Carol. And thank you for sharing. So when you do these your homework in March, that's your research. So do your homework. In April, no one wants to be a fool, especially in April. So use your head, not just your heart, when making decisions. Smart investors drill down and look at the numbers. You have to look at the numbers. Oh, look at the numbers to get a good understanding of what the investment will generate. So why am I saying look at the numbers? When you're looking at the numbers, you know what the outcome's going to be. You know what exactly you're going to be making. And be responsible. Do not allow yourself to be swept away. This happens in auctions. People will see a property. They've gone to look at the property. They've done all their research and everything. That's very good. And they've done their numbers and they know exactly what they can go up to. But when they're in an auction environment, they get really excited and they start bidding over where they know they should have landed. Don't do that. When you've made a decision, you've done your due diligence, you know the numbers you can only run, always make sure that you only do put in for the numbers you know that will actually work for that investment, or you would end up losing. And losing, not only making like a rough plan, you're losing because you're not making the profit that you set out to make, because you run your numbers, you know what you're going to make from it, and you're no longer going to make that. It could cost you more if you don't run your numbers and stick to your numbers. So don't be swept away by emotion. If you face with a deal that seems good to be true, Take the time you need and work at the numbers. And again, go back and do your due diligence and everything about the deal before. Learn everything about that deal before investing. Maureen, people travel for experience and the sun. Staycation are great according to season and location. Totally agree with you. You can have a staycation in the UK in the summer because you can kind of predict that it's going to be warm then. Any other time it's not gonna be warm. As we see, we've been in the UK. Well, I've been in here all my life, but I still prefer traveling abroad. I have to say it's different, a different environment, different culture, and I love learning about other cultures, and I love being around different environments. So I still love traveling abroad. I have done staycations, but my preference is going abroad. So what are we doing in May? In May we are. Did I do April? Yes, I did. In May we're going to take on the wealth gap. The yearning space, there's a space between the world's extremely wealthy 1% and the rest. So one of the best ways to breach the wealth gap is through technology, which gives the 99% access to assets and opportunities otherwise reserved for the 1%. So that's in May. In June, when you invest in property, it's all about the rent. Big discounts can blind you to the real cost involved. A cheap building that you cannot fill with tenants will become an extremely expensive mistake. So what do I mean here? Making sure that when you buy a property that you intend to rent out, that it is rentable. It's in an area where you can rent that property. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking every property around them is rentable. That is a big mistake people make. You could be putting a property that you've bought in between two crack houses or two places where it's so dilapidated and a rough area. And then you say, I want professional tenants to go in there. Ain't no professional tenants going in this rundown property, even though you've made it luxurious, because the two side neighbors are giving you such a bad look that no one wants to go near it. They're just going to be fearing every time they come home. So always be aware of where you are investing. Make sure that you have done your research. Professionals will come in that area. Make sure there isn't so much HMOs. You can find this out from local authorities. If there's too many HMOs on that road, walk up and down the street, get a feel for it. Go there in the daytime and go there in the evening. Try to get a feel for where you are investing in. It allows you then to see the property from a daytime view to a nighttime view, and the people that hang out there. Are people in their house, or they're people on the corner with their beer cans and brown bags? If there are people with beer cans and brown bags, it's kind of an area you don't really want to put your money into, because then you're investing in something that you know potentially will not rent. So in June, when you invest in property, it's all about the rent. Big discounts can blind you and the real cost involved. So again, in July, get to grips with crowdfunding. We're going to have somebody come on and speak about crowdfunding. So when that is, please look at our events, the Savvy Women Group events, and you'll see that we're going to have a speaker coming on for crowdfunding. So where people club together to fund a project or venture. Online investment portals worth to do is CATI Financial Services provide licenses in 2021. So the investment platform could maintain its commitment in using technology to remove the middleman, cut costs, and increase trust and transparency. In August, finance can help you grow, but a bad deal can destroy everything. Tread with care before committing yourself to any finance deal that looks too good to be true. And you can invest offshore. You are already on the back foot in terms of knowing the ins and out how to instruct institution work. Sorry. So take time to make the information decision. And September Investing is about growing your portfolio, and nothing helps you to do that like compound interest. Albert Einstein, eighth wonder of the world. Wealth mitigates allows you to reinvest your returns from the investment to get growth on top of growth. Um, does anyone understand what compound interest is? If you don't, you please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to share what that looks like. But when you buy an investment, it always should make you more money on top of money. I say in property, it's normally 7 years, and you see your property double in the price that you paid for it. In October, make sure you are benefiting from SA embattlement raid. When you invest raids in an international property deal, you have a built-in buffer. If you have chosen first world property market losses value, if the red weakens substantially, you score when you convert the first world currency you have earned back in the rads. If you don't, again, know what that is, please reach out and I will explain it deeper, because it can take a long time to explain this. In November, learn about cash flow and capital appreciation. Investors can make good returns even in lean times by being savvy and seeing opportunities available in the struggling market, and then focus on the upside of potential and the projected income. And finally, in December, even the best time to changes is the one constant, even more so during a pandemic. To become wealthier, take advice of the 1%. Make good, solid decisions based on thought out research and get trustworthy partners in your corner. And I mean, these are nothing that I haven't said before. I'm always very vocal on what I say and why I say. I like making sure that people really get the benefits of investing. So, does anyone, have, yeah, I know Carol says she's got a quarter plan. Does anyone else have a plan for this year when it comes to their business or their property business? Because when you have a plan, do you think your plans work? Have you ever looked at your plans that you're going to make this year? And I always suggest looking at them next year and seeing where you can really make changes to make the plans that you were supposed to be successful with this year more successful next year. So always keep your plans and refreshing them. Go back and revisit your plans, making sure that you're on target and on point with what you're trying to achieve. And never feel disappointed if you don't reach your target. We always make plans, and sometimes we make plans that we know is going to be a hard stretch, and then we beat ourselves up for it because we didn't accomplish them. And I always say, make the plans that you know are achievable. Start small and then work yourself to a bigger plan, and that goes for investments, and that goes for your business as well. So what's in avenues? In avenues, the home improvements that will add the most value when you come to sell. Now, again, this is another topic people like to talk about. What can I do to my home or my investment property to add money to it, to make it really sell or stand out from above the rest? Now, when you're looking at properties, always say try to find properties below market value. Then when you're adding more value to it, you're going to get more money for it. However, it could be your residential home. And a lot of residential homes, when people are coming to view, they can be very critical in what they're saying to you about your home. They could say, oh, this is it's going to be expensive for me to put a kitchen in, or, the bathroom looks a bit, oh, we're going to have to change the carpets, the flooring, because we don't like that, or the paint is garish. All these things people then, critique your home. So why don't you critique your home beforehand and add the value? That way, when you're selling your home, you're justified for asking the price for your home. And the findings revealed in this survey by Move Street said the best way to add value to home is with a garden office. On average, it will cost you almost 9,000 to complete, but it will add 8.4% to the value of your home. That's 22,739 in the current market, meaning an overall value increase of 13,752 once the cost of the work is accounted for. A garage conversion is also, good morning, Dorothy. A garage conversion is also a profitable addition to your home, costing 14,500, but adding 27,000 and £71, leaving £12 and 571 in added value. Who knew this? I mean, who knew that doing a office cabin at the back of your house can give you double back what you spent for it? Adding a garage conversion could give you double back what you spent on it. Who knew that? Updating your kitchen could add just shy of 15,000 to the value of your home and will cost around 8,500. Now, that depends on what kind of units you're putting into your kitchen. I always say the base units, the doors, yes, spend some money on the doors, but the carcasses, you do not need to spend that amount of money on carcasses. Carcasses are well robust nowadays. And if you go around to different places, unless it's a bespoke kitchen unit, most carcasses are the same. And it's the depth of the carcass that you have to look at, or things like that. But most carcasses are the same. So you can buy a cheaper carcass, and that's just the unit where you put your plates into, or your glasses or pots, and then get nice doors and handles that will then brighten it up. And then the worktop, you can get a nice worktop. So it's not going to really set you back 8,500. But what you can make from that, if the value goes up by 15, you can make over £6,000 pounds on top of this expense. So you're making money every time you put in to your property. You're making money. Carol says she didn't know. Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal how much money, how much value you can add to your property by just doing tweaks within it. Adding a conservatory is about £6,000 as well. Redecorating your home, 5,000. Reviewing your boiler, 2,000. Upgrading your bathroom, 2,000. Replacing your windows for double glazed, 1,500. And replacing your roof, 892. Landscaping your garden does add some value, but once the cost of the work is accounted for, this will add value of about only £40. Renovations that aren't cost effective. However, there are a few. So doing cost around 5,000. If you're doing a loft conversion, reconsider. Doing this will actually cost you around 5,000 once the cost of the work is accounted for. So it's probably not worth thinking about doing a loft conversion. So I've got the list here of improving your home. If you'd like it, I'm happy to share that with you in the groups and share this with you as just an overview of what it would be for you to spend out the money and what the return would be. Even fitting solar panels, it's estimated it will add 0.5%. Estimated added value 1,354. So look at what it would add, but the only difference is it's going to be actual added value is minus 4,521. But let me add a caveat here. When it comes to solar panels, this, if you've got it up to the grid, it will give you a return, but it's a long-term return. So you may not have the benefits from it. If you're selling your home, but someone else will have the benefits. So if you already had it and you've had it for 10 years, say, then you would have seen the benefits. So you would have seen the return on your money by then. However, somebody that is, if you're just going to fit it for the purposes of renovating your property, don't do that. Allow somebody else that is going to have that home as their lifetime home or something like that, so that they get the benefits from it and they get the long-term return on it. So I'm going to share this in the group so that you have it. Um, Maureen says, I didn't know this. Great info, knowing the individual values. Absolutely. I've always said, when you're looking at property, I'm the kitchen and bathrooms girl. I'm like decorations. I always look at properties with the potential of adding value to it later on. I hold my assets, majority of them, but I do flip a lot of properties. So where can I add value? Can I add value on an extension, a side return? Can I add value converting a garage? Can I put in a home office? Because now we really have to look at, do we have space in the back to add more value by putting in a home office to accommodate where we are in the world right now, and for long term as well. I've always had an office in my properties for my own personal living, and I've always done that. In the event that I need to work at home, I've got a proper setup at home. Despite I've got my offices on the high street as well, I've also got offices in my house where I've been predominantly working from now. I've had my staff work remotely as well. We've not gone into the office from the start of this year, simply because it's simpler to work at home nowadays. So my office turned into like a storage room rather than an actual office. But if clients needed to come and see me, they absolutely could, because I've got offices there. All right. So in avenues, good news for London investors as yields bounce back. Research by rental portal Rented suggested improvement London yields this year after being in doldrums during the pandemic. Rented analysed the average rental yields based on both the rental and the house price values in 2021 and how the market has performed during the pandemic. The analysis shows that the average rental yield fell to 3.7% last year, down by 0.3% year on year, and dropped by of 0.6%, which when compared to the pre-pandemic levels. In the City of London, it has seen the largest decline when compared to the pre-pandemic yield, with a 1.5% drop. When you come to boroughs currently offering the strongest returns, East London is leading in this way. Both Newham and Tower Hamlets boast an average yield of 4.5%, with Barking and Dagenham 4.4%, Greenwich 4.1%, and Lambeth and Hounslow and Southwark 3.8%, all sitting above the London average. As a result, rent values continue to fall as landlords look to secure a tenant to recoup some of the losses after the very tough year of 2020. And this is driving the factor behind further decline in rental yields, says this company. The good news is, though, that in 2022, it is already looking far more promising. London has reopened for business, and they're already seeing a sharp uplift in their tenant activity, which is helping rejuvenate the rental values quite that are in place right now. And that's good news for landlords to see their rental yields coming up. Let's have a look. No, I think we're on our last piece of news this morning. So, investors, buy-to-let returns far better than ISA's research shows. So I'll throw this out. Do you think buy-to-let investment is better than ISA's or any other investment? New research shows that despite tax regulation changes restricting even buy-to-let returns, this remains far more healthier investment than a buying into an ISA. London letting agency Benham and Reeves has analysed data over the last 10 years at the average annual returns when investing in stocks and shares, ISAs, cash ISAs, and buy-to-let sector, as well as what this return would look like based on an example of investing £20,000. The research, which does not take into account inflation, shows that investing in stocks and shares, ISAs, have returned an average annual rate of at 2.3%. As a result, a 20,000 investment over 10 years yielded a return of 25,156, in addition to your original 20,000. Although this climbs to 47,381, had you invested 20,000 on an annual basis. A capital cash ISA has been less productive. The average annual rate for growth sits at a negative 4.1%. Cumulatively, this would be a significant loss here of 6,800 over 10 years. And Benham and Reeves then analysed the average annual net yield on a buy-to-let. So we're going to compare the buy-to-let now. Investment, and the research shows that on an average annual return of 4.3%, it has been by far the better option when compared to two ISA options. Those who have invested 20,000 into bricks and mortar a decade ago would have seen this investment climb by 10,470 today. An average annual investment of 20,000 per annum would see a return of £73,959. Director of Benham and Reeves, the story of the Isa Millionaire is one that is heavily publicized, and many have looked to these products as a way to build wealth. There is no denying that some have been successful in doing so. However, those with an eye on long term simply won't see a substantial return based on historic performance over the last 10 years. And it shows a table as in comparison. I mean, to go, Maureen says, yes, buy to lets give a better return. ISA interests are low. Absolutely. I mean, back in the day, ISAs were good. Don't get me wrong. They were very good to invest in. I just don't see any other investment now that is allowing the amount of growth you get when you have a property. Property is never, yes, we've had people say that they've had negative equity and things like that, only simply because they didn't do their due diligence, and they could have bought in a block of flats where everyone's fighting for the rent, or they're just in a wrong position, or majority of the block was rental rather than somebody actually purchasing that as their residential home. That would always affect your return on investment. But for me, bricks and mortars have been the number one investment for years for me. Yes, I know stocks and shares is out there, but it's a bigger risk, with greater rewards, mind you, but it's a bigger risk. Bricks and mortar is something that you can have and you can hold on to. As long as you can rent it out, you're always going to see it generating money for you. But people went into ISAs, cash ISAs, to get the benefits. Now, if you look at this stocks and shares, ISAs, a lot of people are sitting in the crypto space right now, despite the markets. And my daughters always say, when it's down, it's not down, it's just on sale at the moment. It's just the right time to buy. But yeah, Dorothy says bank interests are low, but buy-to-let are the best. Absolutely, I agree. Buy-to-let is the best, but it's up to you how you see buy-to-let. I'm not one of those people that sort of says, you know, you have to go and get a buy-to-let property. It's not necessarily. Do your homework and find out what works for you better. In last bit of news, Agency Club helps buy-to-let investors expand portfolios. An independent agent in the Midlands has set up a club attracting investors from as far as Hong Kong, Dubai, and Switzerland. DM & Co. Homes launched the Landlords Club in December and has some 170 individuals on its books. Gabriel, letting agents and at the agency, says the Landlords Club is for anyone from first-time purchasers, of a single buy-to-let to serial investors who want to grow their already established portfolio. And the offer is not just confined to properties on which DM Cole Holmes is instructed. Um, they scour each area, each homes, and they believe they might provide the kind of rental yields that landlords are seeking. Every Wednesday, the agency emails a list of opportunities to potential letting homes on sale on the market. They say their first 3 sales have already completed since we've launched in December, and there are many, many in the pipeline. Membership for the Landlords Club not only gives investors access to the best rental opportunities, it also introduces them to an excellent letting service, enabling them to rely on us to look after their assets. So, what do you think about a letting club? Somebody that provides these properties for you. I think it's a good idea. I'm yet to look into them. I'm yet to find out more details about them. But I really like the fact that somebody could be out there looking for properties, whether you're a first-time buyer or not, looking to get into this market. It's a great idea to have someone on your side helping you out with these kind of things. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea that you can go to somebody that you know is genuinely in the market looking out for your best interest, would have done the numbers despite I always say do your numbers yourself, but actually showing you properties that you can actually go and invest in is a fantastic opportunity. So check them out. I'll share the information in the chat for you. So thank you for joining me this morning. We had a few on today. Thank you for your comments and coming to say good morning. It's appreciated. If you're on a replay, please type in hashtag replay. Another thing we're looking to do tonight, we're running the Savvy Investors Savvy Success Methods tonight. If you want to come along and see that, that'd be brilliant. I'd love to see you there this evening. Let's have a look what we're doing. Events. So we've got the workshop. What have we got today? In the news, we do weekly. And this is what we've got tonight. We've got this Savvy Success Method workshop. We're going to be there online in Zoom. The event is in Facebook. Please go along and register. You have to register before you come along to this event, so please do that. That's from 6 till 6:45 with 15 minutes left back for questioning as well. Love to have you along. It's different topics each week. We share in the property space or even in the business space. So please feel free to come along and join us this evening, where I will share with you a new topic of the week. Thank you for listening this today. It's been a pleasure as always. And again, I always bring you in the news with Savvy Sapphire each Monday at 8 a.m. If you have any comments or you want to join me in the studio, please feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to have you in the studio and we can have a good chit chat about property or business or where you're at, and we can, allow the audience to ask you questions as well. So if you ever wanted to join me, please feel free to do that. Reach out and let me know. And I want you to have a lovely day and I want you to have a lovely week. So thank you again for joining me. I shall see you next week. Have a brilliant week and even a fantastic day. Speak to you soon.